Good morning. What's up, LL Nation? Welcome to the Lucky Lefty podcast. I am your guy, Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics, and of course, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire at Overtime Malik. We're brought to you and featuring Onora Whisky. Go to OnoraWhisky.com and get some of that premium American whiskey only at OnoraWhisky.com. We had a great giveaway of Fiesta Bowl tickets sponsored by Onora Whisky on Friday. And we want you to grab a bottle of that so you can sip on this big W and possible commitment that's coming on January 1st for Notre Dame. It's going to be a great day on January 1st. And you see the name of the show today is Notre Dame Arrives. They arrived physically out in Arizona on yesterday. Marcus Freeman met with the media 30 minutes after landing, and then as soon as he left his press conference, he went to start practice. Yes, Notre Dame got right on the practice field. Marcus Freeman is leaving no stone unturned.
That's right.
In preparation for this Fiesta Bowl. He said he was going to get rid of the lactic acid in this guy's legs and get things going, and they were going to put in about 90 minutes of practice. We were sad to hear about the injury to Josh Love. We'll let Marcus Freeman give you a little bit more on that. We have some clips from his press conference. He also talked about the competition and the vibe that he's creating moving forward. We also found out who will be making the defensive calls. And his answer, I wanted to give a round of applause when I heard him say it because I felt like it was well deserved. That person getting the opportunity to make calls, defensive calls in a big game like the Fiesta Bowl. Some other tidbits. Then we'll go into, yes, the last NFL win. See, we talked about this, bro, didn't we? Because we're the only podcast that will put the pressure where the pressure needs to be applied. We spin it different. See,
That's
everybody
right.
talks about Dale Alexander in the wide receiver room and how disappointed they are, right? Last night was a clear show on Monday Night Football where that quarterback room has been in the last 12 years. So if we're going to point fingers at the wide receiver room, all I'm saying is we need to put a spotlight on that quarterback room as well.
That's right.
You know the last NFL win by a quarterback from Notre Dame? You know who it is?
Who is it?
Brady Quinn, bro.
And that's when he was with the Browns, right?
No, when he was with the Chiefs as a backup.
As a backup.
Against the Panthers, bro. That's the last NFL win for a Notre Dame quarterback.
And it's a shame because it shouldn't be like that. But then again, there's a lot that we got to discuss about that as well.
Yeah, we got to dig into it. And we will nominate the New Orleans Saints offensive line for the Petty Train.
Okay.
They did your boy dirty. They did your boy dirty.
To an extent.
It looked like in the second half they almost just like gave up. I don't know if Ian pissed them off in the huddle or something.
It has to. You gotta have some intangibles. You gotta have. If it's not there yet, you gotta have a rallying cry. Guys gotta want to put the life on the line for you. You can't just be, a guy on the team anymore. So we'll talk about that.
Man, did Ian look smaller in the NFL?
It's just a realization that that's what we had at Notre Dame, a small frame-ish guy. I mean, he's no different than Drew Pine.
Yeah.
And it looks small because them sacks, them was grown men tackling,
Yeah, and you know what? Someone asked me in the comments yesterday after the show, why do it seems like I prefer Nico over Dante Moore? And I said, that's not my preference. Nico is just so different in what I've seen in Notre Dame. Nico and Phil Jacobic was that too. Big stocky quarterback. We had never seen that in Notre Dame. And that's why it hurt to see him go to Boston College. Nico was like, man, I could see him in the pocket just like standing there like Trevor. And I'm not calling him Trevor Lawrence, but his body is very Trevor Lawrence-like. Nice.
Yeah, and then the other thing, Ian still thought this was backyard football. You know,
Yeah,
you can't run away from these guys, and it
no,
just maybe
no.
it's because the ball was in the middle of the field, so you got ample opportunity and space, and dudes are closing the gap. You know, and it just. But this is the epitome of, you know, when we talked about the Notre Dame offense and where we were at that time. Anybody could have played it and had some success. You know, because being the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history, and then looking like what it was on Monday night, you would just be like, damn, is it even that hard to get that accolade? You know, usually you would reserve it for you would think of a guy like a Joe Montana, 6 Super Bowls to win that many games at Notre Dame and translate, but that's not always the case.
The crazy thing is, and we've tried to tell people, we talked about the offensive line, right? And we'll get to Josh Lugg's injury in a moment, and more Blake Fisher news. Notre Dame has been spoiled.
Oh yeah.
That's why fans were so irate, because what you saw was normal offensive play in college football from Notre Dame. Notre Dame has been elite along the front for so long that when they regress to the norm and what other college programs and fan bases have to deal with, they went crazy.
They went crazy
We
because it
couldn't
just
handle
we were, but the thing is, for us to sustain greatness at the offensive line for so long, that's rare. You know, that's the rare part. That's why it's
it.
like for us to be upset, it's like I get it, but we really was living in a fantasy land to be able to pull that off for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. And towards the middle of the season, you started to see things get better. And what have we been saying? If you're a good coach, you will win at Notre Dame. Notre
Yeah,
Dame will
yeah.
attract good players. I would say the recruiting staff at Notre Dame over the last 12 years, I would probably grade them out at maybe a C, maybe a C plus. And you still, and wait, with all of that being said, wait a minute, and I'm being generous. I'm being
Well, oh, generous.
I'm
You
being
mean
generous. I'm being
generous?
generous. You know why?
Oh.
Wait. Let me explain. Let me explain. Because I'm really trying to big up the brand and the university. I really am. And the
Not through
fan base.
no C.
No, let me finish. Let me finish, man. Only at Notre Dame can you kind of have the head guy be lazy at recruiting and give a C plus effort and still attract the type of talent to migrate the fourth most athletes to the NFL. Think about that. And currently have the fourth most talent in the NY6 and CFP. And that's with C plus effort from the head guy.
But
You
you're
understand
saying with an
what
A
I'm saying?
plus effort were what? That would be better than Alabama.
Say it again.
With an A plus effort would be
Oh,
better than Alabama. Is
that's
what
my that's my point. That's my point. That's my point. That's why Notre Dame is so great. You can come in and give C plus effort from the top
Oh
and
man,
still
see that's
attract some of the best players in the world.
okay. What's a C plus? If we had to say a C plus, what a 79? If we had to put it on a scale from one
No,
to
no.
100,
C plus is like what? Like low 80s, right?
I, I ain't never. What kind of grade scale y'all got? I had to get 80. 84 was like a B.
Now 93 to 100 was usually an A. And
Okay,
usually 85 to like 93 was usually a B. So low 80s was usually like a C plus, like a
okay.
high
So that's
C.
so that's over 11-point difference in an A plus from a C plus. And so 11-point difference. Are you saying that's 5 stars? I would think that would be 5 stars, right? Are you saying 5 stars that we didn't get there over the time?
Difference makers, my brother. We're talking about the quarterback situation. The
Okay,
fact
one.
that,
Okay,
that right
okay. I
there is an
agree.
indictment. I'll give you a
I
perfect
agree.
example, right? I'll give you a perfect example. Like people right now in Chicago are debating whether or not to fire Ryan Pace as a GM, right? And they're pointing out how many guys, solid guys, he's gotten in the draft after the second round. Like his third, fourth, and fifth round picks turn out to be really good players and they contribute to the roster and to the team. You know why it doesn't make a difference? You chose Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. You got to go. None of that makes a difference. That's like getting the extra credit questions right on the test and doing horribly on the main part.
Okay.
No. The biggest part of the team, you failed. Period. So you got to go. And you hired Matt Nagy. You don't get to hire another coach. There's no way you can stay. There's no way you can stay. And last night, what we saw, once again, puts the spotlight on what has happened offensively and at the quarterback position at Notre Dame. And while everybody else wants to put a spotlight and talk about Dale Alexander, which we agree.
He can only do so much.
Absolutely.
He can only do so much.
You talked about conversations that Chase Claypool has had, talking about what he's learned technically at the position once he got to the pros that he never learned at Notre Dame. So we understand development has been a problem. All I know is that I've seen more talent come through that wide receiver room than I've seen come through that quarterback room.
Okay, that's very fair. That's fair
all I'm
assessment.
saying. So if we're going to put a spotlight on the wide receiver room, you better put a spotlight on that quarterback room because there's some proving that needs to be done with Tommy Rees and this 2023 quarterback class as far as recruiting.
Oh yeah, 100% agree. And it just shows through the draft picks and how it happens because we are 0-24. We lost the last 24 games and starting NFL quarterbacks from Notre Dame. That's a shame. At least, I mean, 0-24 is pretty bad considering first round type of talent that we've had come out of the receiver room. It's not making sense because when the receivers are at Notre Dame, it's the receivers' problem, you know, and not the quarterback's issue necessarily. You get to NFL, the receivers are doing great, and then it's the quarterbacks is the issue. I think the disconnect has to be the common denominator of the staff and through many parts because how do you keep putting out first round guys like Miles and EQ and all the type of talent, Chase, all the type of talent that you have, and you turn around and be like, well, you're only putting up 27 points a game, putting up, 29 points in a shootout with a team that's not even ranked.
Yeah.
You go in the distance, so it's like, honestly, that evaluation on the offensive side of the football, being it from a defensive perspective now, looking at Marcus Freeman not being on the offensive side, he can be more honest. He doesn't have to be like Brian Kelly, who's in a tough spot because he is the offensive guy putting up this offensive craziness. So what is he going to fire himself? You know what I mean? So Marcus Freeman can be like, look, I'm over here looking outside in. As a business manager, I can just move on with no strings attached. You know what I mean? I don't have a connection with Tommy necessarily because he wasn't my player. That's so it's a good test run, but it also has to, let's not beat around the bush and get the low hanging fruit of Dale because Dale is one of the 7 or 8 quarter receiver coaches that's been there too. He's not like the guy that's been there the 12 years Brian Kelly's been there either.
Right. Christopher Galloway says, guys, how many college players get to the NFL? Ian is there. Stop bashing the kid. We didn't say anything to bash Ian Book. No one has said one thing about Ian Book today.
Yeah, he's the winningest Notre Dame quarterback
because of the offensive line. Flat out, and what we said, you can use Ian Book, you can use Clausen, you can use Brady. It just merely points out the ineptitude at the quarterback position when it comes to producing elite quarterbacks on the NFL level. Period.
But then again, Ian Book is your custodian quarterback. Remember he's a fourth guy on the roster.
Did he win at Notre Dame because of the talent around him?
I mean, it has to be in a big way obviously for what he was able to do, he held it together for as many games, which you got to give credit to.
Hmm.
But when he was in the setting of when everybody's good, it didn't look like he was comfortable in that situation. Outside of just the offensive line, I mean, it wasn't like he had any special attribute to where you would be like, okay, if all else fails, he got his feet. Oh, if all else fails, he got a huge arm. If all else fails, he gets the ball out of his hands quick. He's just a guy, and I think in the NFL, it kind of happens like that where, you don't really get to hide behind too many things. If you think about it, they said on the broadcast many times, you got the best offensive play caller in the history of the game, arguably.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, how? I mean, I know the offensive line ain't that great, but if he's one of the best play callers,
Right.
your talent got to come meet halfway at some point. And his ceiling isn't the highest on a talent level. So you go, I mean, that's the best you. I mean, the highest ceiling that he's gonna get is a Trevor Simeon, and Trevor Simeon's 0-4 for the Saints right now. So I don't think there's. I think there's a difference between a guy like Huntley from Baltimore as a backup to where you're like, all right, if he don't know how to read it, whatever, he can make a play. And I think they just showed that overratedness of knowing the offense or knowing football. At the end of the day, you got to go do it. And
Yeah.
doing it and knowing it are way two different things. And you get to see the NFL get exposed when you get to the fourth, third guy on your roster because they
Yeah.
look like just office guys. It's like you just went in the office, you was panicking, your guy went down, you was like, hey, dude that makes copies all the time. You want to play quarterback just to get us through? You know what you're doing. You be in the meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like. So hopefully, I mean, but at the end of the day, you got your opportunity, man. And winning this Notre Dame quarterback of all time, you deserve a chance at the NFL at least, and you got that.
Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm Shaun Davis with my guy Malik Zaire. Notre Dame arrives. They're at the Fiesta Bowl. Marcus Freeman met with the media. This is his fourth dance with the Fiesta Bowl, 2006. He wasn't on the field, but he was on the sideline as a redshirt freshman. Facing Notre Dame, Brady Quinn, Darius Walker, and that crew, the Charlie Weiss out there at the Fiesta Bowl. He came back the next year, ended up losing the national championship game at the Fiesta Bowl to the Florida Gator, Chris Leak, Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
And I
it
thought that
wasn't
game
nice.
was going the other way because if you remember, Ted Ginn took that opening kickoff. That cat Teddy G took it back, and I was like, "Oh, Florida's in trouble."
Original speed, or another Ohio guy, Glenville,
Man.
stand up.
And then they went back in 2009, and now he's back in 2021 um, as a head coach. So this is his fourth dance at the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, he was great yesterday. I mean, these clips we're about to show you guys. He was asked about, and shout out to Brian Driscoll for the question. He was asked about his practices and his change in philosophy at Notre Dame as far as development of players, and this is what he had to say.
My mindset going into this bowl, the first couple practices, maybe the first 6 practices was, hey, we're doing all good on good. We're doing one-on-one, ones versus ones or ones versus twos, but we're not worried about preparing for Oklahoma State right now in terms of scheme. I want to make sure we develop our guys. And so at the end of those practices, we also had basics, which meant anybody that wasn't in the 2 deep are getting reps, right? We're going to scrimmage with the young guys. And so we continued that basics is what we call it. Those scrimmages throughout bowl practice, even as we started preparing more for Oklahoma State. And so I think you've seen development, right? I know Prince Kali has been running with the 2s and Ryan Barnes is getting some 2 reps. But all those guys, even if they're with the 2s or 3s, they've been getting reps. And so we're trying to develop those guys. But we're also trying to get the 1s and 2s better, right? And we got to make sure that this group is a competitive and is ready to take on this huge challenge that we have this Saturday. And so there's been great development of the young guys, but also, to me, development of the 1s and 2s.
You know what jumps out to me? When you put the meat in the middle of the field and you just let them go compete, the dogs come out. So you had dogs like Ryan Barnes and Prince Colley sitting on the sideline all year. All they needed was the opportunity to compete. That's it. Best on best. Let's see who should be on this field. And two names popped out of his mouth immediately: Ryan Barnes and Prince Collie. Remember,
we talked about Prince Collie though.
We've been talking about Prince Collie, and you saw it. He's just thinking too much. You see the talent, but he's just thinking too much out there. And obviously, with the opportunity just to compete and one-on-ones and other opportunities, the cream rises to the top.
Yeah, and that's super exciting, to see kind of the way that I think a lot of people thought it should be going in terms of just playing your best players and how to get there through being competitive. Now, we did do basics when Coach Kelly was there. We had basic periods, but it was just like getting in the game with 20 seconds left. Nobody really paying attention. You just gotta like, all right, go get your play on. Nothing too serious. But I think the difference with what Marcus Freeman is doing is he's doing the one-on-ones and the competitiveness in the beginning that lasts throughout the entire practice. So you're not just rotting over on the sideline watching guys go at it all day when you're not a one or a two. So being able to, like you said, to throw the meat out there in the middle and see who comes up with it is what guys really want. Guys want to be able to have the feeling that they can compete each week to get on the field and not it just be something where they're locked in that position of a backup and can never get in because coach is so scared of losing. He only plays ones till they fall apart.
Right.
I think with this, Marcus Freeman is giving guys ample opportunity and the coaching staff ample opportunity to be talent evaluators on the team instead of just being in recruiting.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman and the tone he's setting. We talked about going to practice immediately, not wanting to miss an opportunity, not leaving a stone unturned. That's something that we haven't heard a lot of at Notre Dame. For me, it was a very professional approach, at Notre Dame. Like most practices were ran with respect and showing a lot of respect to the team and to the players and responsibility to know your stuff, know what you're supposed to do. And let's go ahead and run through this. But I don't know if that same competitive nature that we've been hearing about and hearing the players talk about being different. I don't know how much of that played into going into big games and coming out flat, or whether or not, we'll see January 1st and then going into the horseshoe, how much it means to have this new competitive environment at Notre Dame. But all I can say is, man, it's good to feel like something is fresh and new.
Well, you got to think about it too. It's kind of like the way the program goes is based on the personality of the coach. So for Marcus Freeman, he's like an athlete. He's probably carrying the program, or what you would think he's carrying the program like. It's like an athlete. He's like just like he get up early in the morning at 6 a.m. He gonna get his lift in. He gonna eat his 3 raw eggs and his protein shake on time. Yeah. He's a very routine, scheduled, and disciplined athlete. So the program is gonna be routine, scheduled, and disciplined. If he's taking a flight somewhere, just like if he was going on vacation, he's gonna get his lift in right off the plane. That's just what regular athletes do. So I think him carrying that athlete mentality as a coach, it's reflecting on his players because his players can see where they're coming from. Like, okay, this makes sense because this is what an athlete would do realistically. They would go out there and get a quick lift in right off the plane before they go do anything fun. They'll make sure they keep practice stimulated because as athletes we can get bored pretty fast. Whereas the personality of Coach Kelly is laid back, privileged in a sense where it's like, man, we know the name, we're gonna roll out here, whoop their ass, and then just continue our day. We're not gonna really stress at practice too hard. I already know my guys, We're gonna just rock with my guys, we don't really need to use all our talent up because, we want to be conservative. We want to just, if we need him, we'll roll a new guy out, next man in, no big deal. He can wait, he ain't going nowhere. That was more of the Coach Kelly personality, and that's how the practice was ran. We came out like we could beat any and everybody, but end up making it a game with any and everybody. So I think this personality switch with Marcus Freeman, who's an athlete, who's like, man, we looking to whoop ass from the first play to the last play. I think you'll see that in how our team comes out from the first play to the last play.
So, like you said, Ryan Barnes is the second defensive back behind Cam Hart. Prince Collie is running with the twos now. And also, there was a change made for one of our favorite players, a playmaker, a guy that's very athletic, Jordan Potello. He's been moved to Rover. Marcus Freeman talked about why he made that move.
A move for right now. We will, kind of dive in and see if that's the best for his future after the season. But, he's able to play out there in space, be disruptive. He's athletic as heck where he can cover guys man to man, but then, on the perimeter screen games and perimeter running games, he's a disruptive factor. And so, we looked at more so the fact that Foskey and Justin have done such a good job at that Viper position, and Jordan being a third Viper versus, being able to rotate at the Rover position. He's going to have more impact being able to be on the field a little bit more at the Rover position and the impact he can make at that position. So his future is to be determined, but I know for this game that I'm excited for him to help us at the Rover position.
Just identify. Identify your talent, find a way for it to get on the field.
And that's a perfect move because Jordan Potello is not an Isaiah Foskey. He's not just a straight up rusher, edge rusher. He's a versatile player. I always thought he could be a better linebacker than some of the guys we had just because he's got the size and he's got the aggressiveness. I love the what Marcus Freeman said as a disruptor in the space on those quick screens and outside runs because he's big enough for a slot receiver to where they can't handle him. But he also can play in space to where he can get out on those screens and make tackles instantly. So I think this is a great position alternative for him outside of him just being a rusher because it just limits his range. He's not like a Micah Parsons to where he's the best thing he can do is go get the ball. Jordan can do a little bit of a few different positions and a few different things, and Marcus Freeman identifying that. And the only way he's going to be able to do that is through his practice style. He probably saw him, tossed him in as something else, and saw him do a couple of things on film that gave him a hint. And then with him being a linebacker, he probably sees a lot of these kids in himself and being like, okay, you could probably do this.
Yeah, man, I agree. Yeah, look, I don't care who it is. It just happens to be Jordan Potello. But once again, an example of the staff watching, and this only comes when you allow players to compete.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't allow players to compete, you don't get to see certain things or identify certain things. So creating this environment really is an opportunity for the coaching staff to identify, we got something here.
And he's not coaching out of fear. He's looking at it like, man, I have nothing to lose. I wouldn't, maybe not as like that, but you know what I mean? I think a lot of coaches would look at it like, I'm at Notre Dame. I ain't trying to do nothing too risky and get exposed early on. I think Marcus Freeman being like, look, we're just gonna get a bunch of athletic dudes. Yeah. We're just gonna put it on the field, see what happens. In a football way, it's like we have a method to the madness, but I know it looks a little crazy. We got a lot of guys shifting and going different sides of the ball, but it's gonna work. And I think that's the free creative mind you need in a transition from having a coach for 12 years and going to something more fresh.
Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm Shaun Davis. Got my guy, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. Don't forget, subscribe, share, like, especially hit that like button. Like if you're watching right now, hit that like button, man. We spin it different right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. We're talking about Marcus Freeman, his press conference. We do have a super chat, and we want to thank you, Matt 2011 GT, for the super chat. Poor Ian looked like Lil Mac from Mike Tyson's Punch Out, doing his best. Johnny Manziel, that Lil Mac. That's dude. Mike Tyson Punch Out still might be like one of my favorite all-time video games, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Just because of who it
even
is.
With like the advancement in technology, that's
top
a game
5. You can play through classic time.
Dude, I would put Mike Tyson's Punch Out and Super Tecmo Bowl in my top 5.
You love Tecmo. They got they got an app called Retro Bowl. You should download it. It looks just like it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Retro Bowl. Download it.
Super Tecmo Bowl was it. That was it.
That's cool.
You get Bo Jackson, it's a wrap. I don't care if you call my play, you choose my play. I'm still running around the corner on you. Let's get it. So Marcus Freeman went on to talk about perfect segue competition. And when you're in competition, man, unfortunate things happen. And during an 11 on 11, we found out that Josh Love injured his right meniscus. And Marcus Freeman gave us an update on how that happened and what's going to happen moving forward.
We're in an 11 on 11 situation, and he kind of just planned it the wrong way. It is a minor meniscus tear, but he's had it for a while. And I think when he planted it, kind of flipped the meniscus a little bit more where, you know what, we said, hey, we're going to have to get this thing fixed right away. And so he's had it throughout the season, and he's been able to fight through it. And then I think just when he planted the wrong way, I think a part of that meniscus flipped up, and they had to go and clean it right away.
So, man, shout out to Josh Love for playing through that all season and solidifying that right side of right tackle, number one. But the fact that Blake Fisher is going to be starting at the right tackle, you talked about the importance short-term and long-term on yesterday for Blake Fisher to get back on the field before he hits the offseason and what that means. And to have that depth at tackle and a talent like Blake Fisher ready to back up Josh Love makes you feel a bit more – if this injury had come up and we didn't have Josh Love, we didn't have Blake Fisher, I don't know how you would feel going into this game, but you have to feel much better knowing that the guy that started at left tackle as a true freshman is going to be playing at right tackle, even if it's his first game back.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have a guy that you can call on with a talent like that. You know, we just happen to have a guy in the cabinet that's a superstar talent potentially at that position as well. I do concern myself with the fact that we missing Kyron Williams, and he was the invisible force behind our offense all year.
Yeah.
And to not have him at all due to him not, thank goodness not because of injury, just because of he's sitting out, but not having him in the offense in general, I think it's going to create a challenge that we're not paying attention to as much just yet. Even with the amount of ability and talent we have in the running back as a replacement.
Yeah.
He's the call on guy though. He's been the guy that has been most comfortable for our quarterbacks, at least to when all else goes crazy, they can turn around and hand it off or they can dump it down to him. So I think all eyes are more focused on how the quarterback is going to manage it because now the receivers are more dependent on the quarterbacks. The running backs being young are more dependent on the quarterbacks, especially in pass protection. So we're going to see how that plays out. But having the offensive line still being solid with Blake Fisher up there, I know we got a chance.
Yeah, man. The offensive line, how would you grade, even though it was against inferior competition compared to some of the defenses they faced in the first half? Purdue was a good defense. Wisconsin was a defense. Of course, Cincinnati was a solid defense. On the backside, the defenses, once they got to the ACC teams like Virginia and Navy, the defenses weren't as stout. So would you be more – do you think the improvement in the O-line was more about the schedule shifting or more about them just getting more time and actually getting better?
Yeah, it's just a molding process it takes for the offensive line, especially being young. Just figuring out the kinks of live action is one thing to know it on paper and know it in practice, but it takes a few game reps and experience and when the bullets start flying for guys to really get adjusted and just kind of gauge what you can get away with and what you can't. And for all line to be progressively evolving week to week and not regressing, I think it shows the maturity of those guys and where they're looking towards in the future and how good they really want to be once they get in sync. And then when you bring in the difference maker of Harry Heastan to solidify that group and continue them on a good track with good habits and technique, I think you'll find yourself back in a position we were building a factory alignment like we were before.
Shout out to Gabriel Dotson this morning. Thanks for chiming in, tagging in with us. People are picking a close game Saturday. I'll be there. Shout out to you. Bring the noise. But why? The Marcus Freeman effect is real. I think ND blows OSU the F out.
I mean, I hope we blow them out, but we would have to just be playing amazing mainly on defense, because I think if we're giving up a bunch of points, I don't know if we're. I haven't seen us in a little bit, so I don't know if we're hitting on all cylinders to be putting up 45 points like we did against Wisconsin. But I hope we blow them out. I think if anything, we'll learn a lot about ourselves transitioning from a guy like a Kyron Williams and
Blowout,
a 14.
blowout. I've said it. I've always thought it would be a double-digit win. Especially after watching the Big 12 championship game, I just thought it would be a double-digit win.
What do you consider? What do you consider like a 11 point or like a 28 point double digit?
I mean, double digits is like 10 and above, bro. I mean,
right, but it's
it's
like a blowout is like 28 points.
No, I'm just saying. I've said it's going to be a double-digit win. A blowout. If they win 34-24, I'm good.
Okay.
If they win 27-17, I'm good. So when Gabriel says a blowout, I don't know what constitutes a blowout for him.
Right.
Like it might be 21 points. 21 is put down the sticks in Madden, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Are we beating? You saying beating them by 21, 28 points? I don't know.
Well, see, that's the blowout. The blowout won't be on the defense. The blowout is all about the offense.
Yeah, 100%. But the defense got to keep it close. If we not blowing them out, no, like 58 to no Wake Forest, North Carolina 58-56 or something like that. We ain't doing that.
Well, if Notre Dame gets into the 30s, it's a blowout.
Yeah, if we hold them to under 15, yeah.
No, but Notre Dame hasn't really allowed anybody to score 20 points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we hold them. That's what I'm saying. So the defense got to hold them to a certain they average, and then we got to be. Michael Mayer got to have at least 10 catches like last night on Monday Night Football. He got to have Jalen Waddle 10 catches from every position on the field, and then Kevin Austin got to, one hand some stuff like we got to go crazy.
Yeah, so Marcus Freeman said he spent his entire time on the flight watching film, and he talked about how much he respects Oklahoma State and how difficult they may be as an opponent.
I'm so impressed with how hard they play from every position, but especially their front four. They play extremely hard. They're relentless, and they tackle and they pursue to the ball well. And so it's going to be a huge challenge. And the challenge isn't going to be schematically; it's going to be to match their intensity and their the physicality they play with.
Can I say something right quick? Marcus Freeman just told you, man, it's this girl I want you to meet. She got a really good personality. She's really fun to be around. That's what he just said about Oklahoma State, man.
Wait.
That's what he just said. You know how your boy try to set you up on a blind date?
Oh,
okay. Like, man, won't you go out with me and my girl, man? Go out with one of her friends. Like, how she look? Man, she real nice. She real nice, man. She got a really good personality. Like, how she look, bro? I'm telling you, man, she's really nice. That's what Marcus Freeman just said about Oklahoma State. They play really hard. They play really hard, and we just gonna have to match their intensity and their physicality. What about
he's just being nice?
What about their talent, though?
Yeah.
What about their speed, though?
But she happens to be 300 pounds, though.
Yeah. What about that speed, though? Y'all understand what Marcus Freeman just said? Marcus Freeman
watched that film. Between the lines. You said read between the lines. Okay.
Marcus Freeman was watching that film like, oh, word? Yeah, they play really hard. Yeah. Really? They play hard? Okay.
I mean, super big. I think he's definitely got the right coach.
Your sound just dropped.
Oh, you hear me now?
Yeah.
He's definitely got the right coach speak. He ain't gonna tell him probably how he really feels about him. But he did make a point that I think is what we talk about every day. Yeah. We got to come out with the intensity. Maybe it's reverse psychology. Maybe he's really talking to our team, saying, look, if we don't come out like with our hair on fire now, it's going to be a hard game. So he was really talking to Notre Dame through talking Oklahoma State, because he really don't believe playing hard is something you can look on film and be like, that's going to be a problem. Because how do you even if we play hard?
Yeah.
So so I think he's really saying, look, if we don't come out with an attitude like y'all playing for the black man over here for a Daytonian, then it's gonna be a tough game, you know. And I think that's respectable. I think that's respectable.
Now they are a physical front, and I've said before that front four reminds me of the same front four, or very similar to the 2012 front four that Notre Dame had. Right? Not particularly very fast coming off the edge, but just big and physical up front, physical edges with Prince and Capron on the edge, and then you had the big boys, Lewis, to it on the inside. So big, physical. But hey, you have to. Alabama took the challenge of saying, yeah, you're big and physical, but guess what? We still gonna run this ball at you.
Yeah.
We still gonna run this ball at you. You're not about to just set the tone. We're not about to run from you because you're big and physical. And
Not at
I'm
all.
looking forward to seeing if Notre Dame can, enforce their will on this big physical defensive line and just wear them down. And just,
If we can't
hey,
enforce our will on a Big 12 team running the football, man, it's a lot of things we're gonna have to correct if we want to go against Ohio State next year. I mean, good grief. When have you ever heard of a Big 12 team being stout in the run game defensively?
well, look, once again, I've said this.
We ran the ball against Wisconsin really well.
I wouldn't say really well.
Well enough. I mean, what's Wisconsin giving up on average in the run game? I think we hit their average a little bit above.
Bro, I think you might be thinking about a different game. Because Notre Dame did not run the ball well against
We didn't
Wisconsin.
run over them. We had at least 100 though, right? I'm pretty sure we had at least 100.
Dude, Notre Dame had 3 yards rushing, dude. On
We didn't
32
have no
yards.
run. We
I'm
didn't have.
serious.
Yeah, I must have.
Yeah, you're thinking about a whole nother game. I knew that game. They had 3 yards rushing on 30. Now, that was because of a lot of the sacks that Jack Cohn took.
Okay.
But Kyron was getting blasted. Kyron was getting blasted that game. He was getting blasted. So, nah, it wasn't a Wisconsin game. I don't know what game you might be thinking of, but it wasn't Wisconsin. I can tell you that.
See, but that's what I was saying. But that was our guy. You know what I mean? And to not have that and go against, I mean, I just want to know, is their defensive line like that?
Your boy Pierre said you in that Onora early, bro.
I swear to God, I thought we had a better rushing performance than 3 yards though.
No, or an average of 0.1. I mean, those are the stats.
Hey, that's what you call finding a way to win. Because if we had that against anybody else, I don't know how we coming out with victory.
That's crazy, right? You look back at that game, you look back at the depth of struggles from this offense and where they reside right now. I don't care how physical that Oklahoma State front is. You have to feel like they haven't seen anybody like us.
Right. And that's the thing too, is that I think they're more heavily thinking about what we're going to do than we're thinking about them. I don't think if we interview their head coach, they're saying, "Oh, we play hard." I think he's going to give you something more specific on what they are looking forward to trying to meet as a challenge. Like maybe say Michael Mayer presents an opportunity to doubling. They got some really good guys on defensive that fly around. You know, maybe something from a scheme standpoint, but I don't think that their head coach would share the same sentiments that our head coach did on us just playing hard.
Yo, this was crazy, and I forgot to mention this yesterday. I was supposed to bring this up on yesterday's show. Mike Gundy, I wish I had the clip. He was asked about finding out that they would face Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. And his exact response to that question was, I was hoping that we would face them because it would really give us or expose us to the rest of the country. Like, word? Like, fam,
I mean, but that's duh. Everybody says that against us.
it's like you don't want to talk about football and like, man, we really want to face them and see how good we really are. It's like, man, we get to expose the football program a little bit more. Oh man, okay. All right.
Yeah, but but for us for him to be saying that about us just shows that on their own, even when they're good, they don't get any recognition. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why I said they're thinking way more about us than we are about them because that's what I'm saying. Marcus Freeman and being like playing Oklahoma State will allow us to feel confident moving forward in this Marcus Freeman era. He's like, man, it's a good team, I guess, and we're gonna see what they got. They're saying this is a chance to take us national.
You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, okay, do these guys really want to be here?
But that's why we say every time teams play us like it's a Super Bowl. It don't
Right,
matter if it's Oklahoma State or Toledo.
right.
Everybody in between, they gonna play us like this is the the Friday Night Lights where they got to give a crazy speech before
Yep.
Jamie Foxx Al Pacino speech right before we go out there. Longest yard, whatever.
So the
They think we the
question,
prison guards.
the question most people have been asking Marcus Freeman every time he met with the media is who's going to make the calls, who's going to call the plays during the Fiesta Bowl. And he answered that question yesterday. And, at the end, we can all give a big round of applause, man, to who he's decided to give that opportunity to in the Fiesta Bowl.
Right now, the plan is for Elston to have a lead role, Mike Elston to have a lead role in terms of who's making the majority of the calls on game day. Now, we're going to work hand in hand like we've done all year. I'm going to be right there with them. We're going to go back and forth and be able to throw ideas off of each other. But the game plan, we've game planned as a group. We've kind of put the game plan in as a group, but he'll be the one on Saturday making the majority of the calls. But again, I think it's best for the group because of he's had more time, and the D staff, not just him, but Mike Mickens and Chris O'Leary, they've had more time to just strictly prepare for Oklahoma State's offense. And I would be doing a disservice to our defense if I said, nope, we're doing exactly what I say. I'm the one that's going to call it. I'm the one that's going to do it because I haven't had as much time to prepare for Oklahoma State's offense as those guys have. And so I think this gives our group a better opportunity to have success. That's why I made this decision is that, hey, these guys have spent more time preparing for Oklahoma State than I have in terms of just our defense versus their offense. So let's let those guys, those individuals, and specifically Mike Elston have the opportunity to call it. And again, I'm going to be involved. I'm going to make sure to be, hey, if I want something, I'm going to say, hey, let's do this. If I don't like something, I'll interject, say, let's do this. But he will be the primary play caller for this game.
Yo, big up. Shout out to Mike Elston. Much deserved. Like all the work he's put in at Notre Dame, the elite recruiter he's been, the way he's developed people along and young men along that defensive line. Shout out to Mike Elston getting this opportunity. And before we dig in a little side note, hey man, how's that core water? You ever tasted that core drink that Marcus Freeman had on the table?
Oh, that water?
I've seen people with it all the time, but I've never tasted it.
It's like a fancy Dasani, man. It's all the same.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're paying for. A fancy Dasani.
Because you gotta think if it was some real good water, you wouldn't be able to get it at no gas station, man.
So it's not like clearly Canadian then.
The Fiji water is not even from Fiji, man. You know that?
Of course, it's just a name that they put on the front.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't trust none of these names on these.
Oh man.
But I do like that the move Coach Freeman made. I think it was just a very honest moment. I don't think he should say that moving forward, that he ain't prepared as much as the other guy.
I told you he's very transparent, bro.
And I think as he's going through the coaching, I think he's gonna be less and less more of a hands off when it comes to the defensive side. But early on, I think he's just trying to get everybody included and get everybody at a good place just to get through the rest of the season. So he can go into the off season with a clear head as opposed to creating little fires before he gets to anything serious on a coaching standpoint, he has to make. I think these are a lot of easy calls for him because he's not thinking about his pride and his ego as much,
Yeah.
which is real good for a guy who's, like we said, too honest at sometimes, man. Hey, you can't be too honest. You gotta sometimes do different. But going back to thinking about how we're just like a Drake feature. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants a Drake feature to blow up,
Do
and
they?
I think, huh?
Do they?
Yeah, Mike Gundy said it. We're Drake to Mike Gundy. He wants a feature from us because if he get a feature from us, they can get recognized on a
I thought
level.
I thought Lil Baby was like the big feature right now.
Yeah, for certain people, for a certain demographic. I think Drake would benefit a Adriana Grande more than a Lil
Okay.
Baby would.
Oh, you talking about something like melodic? Okay.
No, just a feature in general. Who would? I think if I had a Drake feature right now, I'd make crack that top 100
Top 100 on what chart? The
on
Canadian
Billboard.
charts.
No, on Billboard. Drake gonna shoot me up at least 50 spots. At
So
least.
man, yo, this is what I'm talking about, right? Because we're gonna have an end of the year show. It's gonna be a big show coming up this Thursday, right? We're gonna have our best of. We're gonna have our top 5 moments from the season, right? We're gonna run down the tens and grade them from like 10 all the way down to 1, like worst game of the season. And then we're gonna have like feature of the year, song of the year. We're gonna go through it all.
All right, cool.
I'm just saying 3 Stacks already has my feature of the year.
That's because you ain't heard him in a while. He ain't.
No, it's because he's 3
It's a
Stacks.
legendary ask at this point.
It's
But you
because
know
he's
why I
3
wouldn't give
Stacks.
him that? Because I saw this man sitting outside the grocery store
In
playing,
LA?
yeah, playing the little flute or clarinet or something. Like I couldn't
What?
get that man no feature of the year after seeing that. He was playing for free a couple weeks ago. So I don't know.
Dude, he was out in front of the store like laying on girlfriends, dude.
Out of Ear One, I tell you the story. Ear One grocery store, really good grocery store. You gotta go get their hot, fresh food. But he was out in the front. Nobody noticed him because he didn't look like Andre Three Stacks. He looked like, you know, one of the people in LA. And I'm the only one looking at him. I'm like, is that?
Don't
He
nobody
just
else
sit
see
there.
this.
Yeah, I'm like, what's up? Like, you know. And he was like, he was cool, but he also, you would have thought people was throwing change at him at one point. So I don't know.
Stacks. Lucky Lefty podcast right here. So that's Thursday. We're gonna have our end of the year show and have fun with it, man, and really give our predictions on the Fiesta Bowl. I don't know if I'm predicting a blowout, but I have to think about it. Because it's all about the start for me.
Yeah, that's all I care
If anything
about.
starts fast, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because then you make Spencer Sanders one-dimensional, and that's not gonna go well for Oklahoma State. Let's get to some of these questions, man. These comments. I got Alan Chris said, I still drink tap water. Water is H2O.
Man, you can't trust nothing on this water these days.
Dude, I live too close to Flint.
Yeah, you had to stare at it for a little bit, make sure nothing else moving in it for you. Like, all right, it's good.
Man, I live too close to Flint, Michigan, man. I'm gonna have to make smart, wise decisions, man. I go for the bottle every now and then. And see, in my household, bro, it's always an argument. Whether you get purified water or spring water. Like I'm a spring water dude, and everybody else in my family, they love the purified water. The purified water just has a different taste that I just can't handle.
I believe spring water is the way to go as well. It's the Kangen water. If you really want to dive into some good water, get you some Kangen water. It's ionized for us to be able to actually get hydrated from it. You should check it out. It's a pretty expensive machine, but it's something that you should really look into. Kangen water. Now, this purified water, I mean, you got to go through a chemical process for some water. I'm not a big fan of it. So I agree. It's a different taste, something that I don't really recommend, but I try to get as close to the spring as possible.
Yeah, see, people getting deep with it. Spring water is literally tap water. At least it's treated. Like we know that, dude. I remember when water first started being sold. I was in high school, and I
Oh,
thought it
wait a minute. Wait a
was
minute. You said water was being. Oh, you.
dude. Like I was there at the inception of when water started popping up in like gas stations being sold.
Oh,
I never
really?
forget. Yeah, I was in high school, and I'm like, man, who's about to buy a bottle of water? I'm
Swear
like,
to God.
swear to God, swear to God, dude.
Wow.
We used to go
So,
across the street for lunch every day. They had the big grab bag, 99-cent Dorito bags, right?
yeah.
So when we would get the grab bag Dorito bags, and then we would walk over to the nacho machine and pour the hot cheese on top of the Doritos
Straight up.
and put the hot peppers in there. So we had like a big nacho,
Yeah.
like our own self-made nacho. And I remember looking in the cooler one day, and I'm like, yo, they're actually selling water? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, this is the craziest thing in the world. And
Oh, like it was really like the first time seeing it was like
yeah,
water. And
yeah,
you like, damn.
yeah, yeah.
Wait,
It's
how did
like,
you drink water before? Like all the time? On the go.
oh, I mean, when you're in
You
high
just
school,
didn't do
like
it.
it's always pop machines, bro. It's always pop machines. I was like, man, I was drinking like 4 Minute Maid oranges a day.
So investing in vending machines was the way to go back then.
And look, in practice, we would come out of the gym or run off the field, and they would have like a big cooler of water, you know what I'm saying, ready for us.
Straight up.
Or we would come out the gym and just take a swig at the little cooler in the hallway.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like literally my high school years was literally like the first time you started to see bottled water.
Who was the company?
The first one I saw was Coca-Cola, but it wasn't Dasani at the time. I forget the name.
So Coca-Cola was selling water too. Wow.
Yeah, because it was the Coke products, and eventually we saw it across the street, and eventually they ended up putting it in the vending machine. So,
Damn.
yeah. So
Damn.
that's the world. Literally, the world was changing right before our eyes, and we never knew, or I could never fathom that you would have like all these electrolyte waters and all these different type of waters to drink from. You know, my mother.
Yeah, you was like the purified was like a whole thing for you.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I mean, dude, we went and got a Tahiti treat.
Oh yeah, that's classic. They don't know about the Tahiti tree. They don't, look. You talking about some secret snacks.
Man, that Tahiti treat was fire. It's still fire. And then I think right after that, Clearly Canadian popped in, and you start seeing Clearly Canadian blackberry, strawberry, peach. I still rock with the peach, and yeah, it was like a different thing, you know. So yeah, the fact that we have all of these different options for water right now, and my water, I don't like it cold. I need my water to be room temperature. Let's get to some of your comments. Let's see. Coleman Clark, I won't drink Philadelphia water, spring water all day. All right. Alan Krantz, you're right about Flint, Michigan. Yeah, that Flint, Michigan story, like, still messes with me. The water still isn't right. That's what I'm saying. Hot summer day, playing outside with your friends and whatnot, hit that hose. Absolutely. Like it was like the side of somebody's house, turn the hose on, you know what I'm saying? Hit that finger, get you a nice little stream. Bam.
But the kids, I mean, the kids don't even do that these days. It's
They
hard to
don't
get
know-
them outside for real.
They don't know how to live then. They don't know how to live. You got kids, you know, outside carrying bottles of Dasani to the park.
And Dasani damn near, I'd rather drink the water over here. If I had to be exquisite, you know, I got my glasses of water. I like my my boss.
Eugene Williams said, listen now, don't get me started on that Tahitian treat. Man, look, Drake even talked about it. Drake even talked about it. right? Like he would go to the corner store for that Tahitian treat. You had to. You had to, man. Tahitian treat back then was like what? 35 cents in the can?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah. You might need to pop back in and out of the studio. D-Rock, that away Shaun. I don't know what I did. Hopefully it's about the conversation about the water. When I was talking about room temperature over ice cold water. I can't do ice cold water. D-Rock Irish is crazy, man. He said Gatorade is 1% molecule of piss. I can't deal with you. I still hit that garden hose after a hard day of mowing, Sean Paulus. Yo, real talk. It is what it is, man. That's some of the best water ever. Eugene Williams Tahitian treat was 50 cents at the gas station. Yeah, it was around that. I think he got up to that. I don't know how old you are, Eugene. I might be a little bit ahead of you, but it was definitely like in that 40-cent range, up to that 40 cent, 50 cent range. So what?
100%.
No, we're talking about that Tahitian treat at the corner store.
See, those are the legendary things that they gotta, like the frosted oatmeal cookies and the Tahitian treat. You talking about a combo that can last you through supper, because
Yeah.
at the time you got to get to dinner. You know what I
Right.
mean? There was a big gap between when you first ate in the morning and that dinner time. So that was Tahitian treat time, definitely.
Like I said, I told him when you checked out for a second, that even Drake rapped about it in Western Road Flow. You know what I'm saying? He said, man, he talked about going to that corner store for that Tahitian treat, dude.
Now I do wonder if the training table, thinking about food, I wonder if the training table for Notre Dame has increased. I wonder if Marcus Freeman has brought in his Dayton culture classics to give to the team during training table, because you got to eat right if you want to play the right ways too.
David Jones giving us the breakdown. If it is not getting into your cells, especially muscle cells for athletes, it doesn't matter what type of water beverage it is. Muscles are 75% water. Man, all I know is I did a poor job as an athlete when I was younger, drinking water. Man, I had the most sugar in my system, bro.
But they didn't really tell you the importance
Nobody
of
told
water
us.
at the time.
Right.
They're not telling you like, oh, you got to drink your water. It was just like, man, you thirsty.
Gatorade, pop, soda, juice.
They actually said Gatorade the worst for you.
I know.
So, I don't know.
And shout out to you, Alan Prince, for your service, man. We appreciate you. He said in Iraq, all we had was bottled water, not springs in the desert. Thank you for your service and glad that you're still with us.
Man, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Eugene Williams, what is this? You know what pissed me off back in the day when they discontinued Ecto Cooler?
What is the Ecto Cooler?
What is the Ecto Cooler, man? I'm not up on that.
Man, you done dropped some ancient water history on us, man. We don't know the Ecto Cooler.
Oh, High C. That was a High C drink.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Yo, so this is crazy. Speaking of drinks, like you have a drink and you're upset because you don't know what they put in it.
Like
there's
purple drink.
There's a drink called Sunrise at Roscoe's.
The half red, yeah.
And I'm mad because I can't recreate it, bro. I can't recreate.
There's nothing we can. I ask them every time. I'm like, 'cause I get the sunset. I get the sunset because it's a little different. But
right.
I don't know how they be able to make it split like that.
Okay.
How did they get the split? Because how they
got the.
And then you got to mix it, because if you let it sit, it'll just stay there like that.
Facts.
I'm like, what kind of witchcraft? Science experiment. But you talking about one that you can't have too many now, but you get one every once in a while. Do you right?
Yo, before we get to our special guest we have coming on in a minute, Let's see, bro. I should have done this earlier.
Uh-oh.
I should have done this earlier, man, and been prepared. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, we gotta get on our petty.
We gotta get
on our petty.
We gotta get on the petty.
Oh man.
But go ahead and talk about how, man, what do you think moving forward, ultimately, how this is going to propel Notre Dame, the way they're preparing, how it's going to propel Notre Dame into the recruiting season and in 2022?
Man, I honestly think this game tells a lot in terms of how recruiting is going for the guys that have made those commitments to Marcus Freeman early to be like, okay, this is why I committed. I can see the writing on the wall. I think this win is more important for what moving forward would mean for recruiting and even the program, just to feel good about the hire. I know it's very premature to be thinking this is the right hire or not after the first game, but it's what you want to have and what you want to see in the ideal world for a new head coach that you're so excited about. You definitely want to see that, but I also want to see the trend go different ways for the receiver room and the quarterback room. What happened on Monday night is inexcusable because I felt like we should have a better result from what Ian was being able to do. That's the winningest Notre Dame quarterback of all time. So that means a lot. And to go out there and look like, man, like, yeah, there was a lot of factors that were going on, but I mean, throwing a pick six is throwing a pick six, you know? I mean, that's your fault, you know what I mean? And even him going 12 for 20 for 135, that just encapsulate how he had at Notre Dame. It was just empty calories. It felt like it wasn't like you were a bad quarterback, but it's not over the hump that you would want when you talk about winning games like that. I mean, it was a tough spot to be in. You're in a playoff situation, you know what I mean? But if you think of guys like Jalen Hurts, who they call for his job every other day, you know, he's able in his first game against the Saints was able to pull off a great victory, and him was just making plays happen. And I think that's just where the NFL should go in terms of backups. Get guys that can make something happen. You know, the whole heady, you got to know the whole offense thing is kind of overrated because the guys that we keep seeing that supposedly know everything play less, you know, more inept to play. So I think that hopefully he gets another chance at it. But it's the same thing as I felt like Ben DiNucci. Like, how's Ben DiNucci starting for the Dallas Cowboys, best sports franchise in all of sports? But it happens like that. But shout out to the fact that you get to that place, and it just shows you how hard it is in the NFL, man. You got to really be on your P's and Q's and kind of get lucky.
All right, let's do it.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history?
Yeah. Coming up on the other side of Petticoat Junction, special guest, former Notre Dame defensive lineman Jarron Jones will be joining us. So stick around, but right now it is Petticoat Junction. Pettiest story of the day. I nominate the New Orleans Saints offensive line. For how petty they were to our guy Ian Book last night, man. He took a pummeling at the hands of the Miami Dolphins, and that just wasn't right, man. It wasn't right, bro. They, especially in the second half, it's almost like they just gave up. They just opened up the doors. I'm just like, man, go ahead and pound them. I had to put them on the petty train. Had to.
It's petty because it's like, hey, you would think that you would give a better performance when you don't get a chance to play through the whole season.
Yeah.
And but then again, when you blocking those type of guys that the Miami Dolphins had,
Yeah.
that's a hard day for anybody.
Oh, facts.
So, but it's petty that they gave up 8 sacks. It's like, dang, come on, help your guy out. He's just getting his feet wet.
And I would like to nominate one Iman Shumpert, Chicago's own. I give him a credit, even though he stays in the suburbs or grew up in the suburbs. It was really like annexed to the west side, so I'll give him a little credit. On Bootleg Kev podcast, he said that LeBron James ruined basketball.
Yeah.
And I agree, but more than ruining basketball, I think LeBron James made the average fan really feel like they knew what the heck they were talking about when it came to basketball. Like, it's because of LeBron James that we have all of these I won't even call them geeks, these dorks. Sport dorks. Right? Because, and this irritates me, bro. Like, and people in the chat might disagree. It irritates me, like, we're about to have Jarron on. Right? And I'm literally going to let you and Jarron flow because you guys played the game. I'm not about to sit up here and act like I know just as much as you all know about the game.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
But I didn't play the game. And I was always taught when you're in a room, it's best to listen. Because if you listen, you'll learn something. Right?
That's fair.
Man, and I just think now we got a world full of people because of social media that want to act like they know the game. They never played the game. But just because they can regurgitate some terms they heard on TV and throw out some sabermetrics and some numbers.
Ooh.
I'm not with that, man. I'll, just be
So
honest
validate
enough to say you're giving your opinion. That's it. And when you're among athletes that have actually done it, it might be wise to listen to say, let me listen to them and really learn what the game is all about.
Yeah, I feel like this is a little biased though, because I feel like you think that this whole Jordan and LeBron conversation has came up because of LeBron, and it's people sounding like they know what they talk about.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, man. You start like LeBron ushered in the era of the hot take.
Okay, that's fair.
He ushered in the era of the hot take. I will say that. I'll leave it at that. He ushered in the era of the hot take, and because of that, man,
I mean, they still giving hot takes on Bron today.
We just have to deal with it, bro. Let's welcome in to the Lucky Lefty podcast, former Notre Dame defensive lineman and hopefully soon to be friend of the program for a long time, NFL player Jarron Jones. Welcome to the Lucky Lefty podcast, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Man,
how y'all doing?
Wonderful. We've been talking about Marcus Freeman and this environment that he's created, where we basically just kind of say, one-on-ones and competition each and every day. He's putting the stake in the middle of the field and letting the dogs go compete and see who comes up with it. And in that type of environment, he's able to identify talent and other attributes to say we need to get the best guys on the field. For you came to Notre Dame as an offensive lineman, and it was identified that you might be better for the team on the defensive side of the ball. Just talk about that transition and then going back to the offensive side of the ball when you got to the next level. Is it difficult to do that, or is it really just about going where you're best needed and where you're best fitted and suited?
For me, actually, I just did the switch when I got to the league. Notre Dame recruited me the whole time as a D lineman because I kind of said early in my recruitment that I didn't want to be an O lineman. Looking back on it, it was kind of a dumb decision. About it.
Yeah, you skipped out on he stand for about 4 years.
I did. And I wish looking, if I was thinking career-wise, that would probably been something I wanted to do. But, I just love playing defense. And, I just love the knack of going after the ball, tackling you grew up playing shoot 'em up, bust 'em up. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah,
it's
straight up.
just straight natural instincts. So for me, when I got to the league and once I switched over, it was kind of like going back to college all over again because I had to start from scratch of learning the things that guys in that position would normally learn in college. I had to start from the basics. So it was a tough 4 years. Just trying to pick up a playbook and then also trying to block a dude on the other side of me who runs a 4 or 5 off the edge. You know what I'm saying? But you just learn to be a quick learner. You learn to adapt. You just learn to fight to survive out there. And once you kind of get in that mode of competing, and like you said, how Coach Freeman is creating that atmosphere of let the dogs eat. That one-on-one competition. That's what the league is pretty much all about. You know what I'm saying? And that's the importance of in some ways, if you're going to get more reps in preseason than if you're not going to get more reps in preseason, or if you make the roster or get that extra special teams rep that can give you a chance to make one more play than the competition that you're going against to make roster spots, because there's 90 guys in the preseason, and it goes on to 53. You know what I'm saying? So like you got to create that atmosphere, and for guys to learn that in college rather than try to adjust to it in the league. I feel like there's no acclimatization period where during Kelly's era we had that time where like like looking back on it, I wish you threw us into the fire. That's the only way we got better. Those times when all those think about the year where 2014 where we're starting out 7-0. We're a healthy team, and then after that we suffer a lot of injuries. And you look at USC game at the end of the season, we're getting blown out by USC.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? After the same year we shut out Michigan, we get blown out by USC at the end of the season. And not to throw shade at the program or nothing like that, but like it was just for our freshmen and sophomores that got thrown into the fire during that game, they weren't ready, but it got them better. You know what I'm saying? Getting those live bullets, because look at from that loss in 2014 and going into 2015, we were looked at as a playoff team because we had so much depth, because we had guys that got thrown into the fire, that got put in these live competition periods, and guys were ready. It was like everybody's jobs was up for grabs going into 2015. I know we had a lot of seniors and stuff, but
Straight up.
nobody's job was
Nah,
locked down.
not that
like
year.
that was a crucial camp that year.
Oh
Like, you know what
man.
I'm saying?
Oh man, everybody was good that year.
Yeah, we had a lot of talent in a lot of different areas. So, I feel like for him to create this atmosphere at Notre Dame, I feel like looking into next year, this game is big, because going into next year, I think we should be national championship or bust. Just
That's
the
right.
talent we got, just the young cats we got, and all the injuries we suffered upon the O-line, and all those guys having to step in and get those live bullets. Everybody's going to be ready. Everybody's going to be feeling like they're ready to play in the game going into next year. So I feel like we'll fare better in the competition, because like that Ohio State game, I ain't gonna lie, like
It's gonna tell a lot.
like it's gonna tell a lot. Like, I feel a lot better going into Ohio State with Freeman as head coach than Kelly.
See, and he ain't even and Coach Freeman ain't even coach a game yet, man. That's
And he ain't even coach a game yet. You know what I'm saying? And
now
I'm not.
talk,
And
but you gotta
I
also
loved playing for Coach Kelly. Kelly was a winner. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like Coach Freeman is gonna actually have those dogs ready to go to battle. You know what I'm saying?
and you speak talking about ready to go to battle, and especially being flat, and we talked about that being the difference. If anything, that Freeman's going to change is not having the team come out flat. But then you also got to think about Elston. Elston has been a big key in Coach Kelly's tenure there. But you've directly been in Elston's camp during the time you was at Notre Dame. But just talk about his impact, because Marcus Freeman's got him calling the defense going into this Oklahoma State game majorly. But what do you think about Coach Elston's impact in this game and just his defensive acumen moving forward?
Personally, I love Coach Elston to death. I think he's ready for this. I think it's been a long time coming. because he's been there since Bobby Diaco was DC.
Oh
You know what I'm
man.
saying? So he had Diaco, he had Van Gorder. Take it for what you want. You can say whatever you like about Van Gorder, but Van Gorder, he taught people a lot about the game. You know what I'm saying, in general, and he made the importance of film study. He made the importance of learning the playbook. He made the importance of knowing what the offense does. He made that important, and that's crucial to a player's learning. And I feel like even though that didn't go as planned necessarily for whatever reason, I don't know, that's above me. I was just there doing my job. I felt like, a lot of guys got better from his system. I felt like, you look at guys that has played under him. Matthias Farley is still playing right now. You know what I'm saying?
He's
Matthias is
still
a
playing.
great,
And he was damn
yeah,
near a captain.
exactly. Matthias is a great leader, and I felt like, guys that have played under him, say what you want about him, but like guys that have played under him have, done good things. You know what I'm saying? So him, then you go to Elko, you go to Coach Lee, and now Coach Freeman. I feel like he's been a part of every defense that Notre Dame has, all the defensive schemes and stuff like that. I feel like he'll be a great defense coordinator, especially when we play different teams that run different systems. I feel like he'll always have
An idea.
exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. An idea of, what we need to change if, because like, what I'm saying? Like, look at the time when we were going 3-4 against Florida State and how that Florida State had the quarterback run kill us. You know what I'm saying? We can switch to a 3-4. I feel like, again, I just feel like he's ready. I feel
And
like
just describe how Elston has changed as a coach through the years, because I don't think he was the
I don't think he
defensive
necessarily
coordinator he
changed.
is
He's
now.
always been a great coach. He's always related well to players. He's always, especially with the Notre Dame recruitment, I feel like he's always played a big part in recruiting.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I know sure as hell Coach Elson was the reason I came to Notre Dame, because that was that was who I was talking to all the time. And if I was to talk to anybody that's still in the staff, it's Coach Elson the most. So I mean, he plays a big part in getting that defensive talent there.
Hey, he's got a resume that's long too.
He
He
does.
can
He
definitely turn
does.
around and be like, I got all these NFL guys.
Especially a dude that played at Michigan too. You wouldn't expect that. Like, he played at Michigan. You expect them to like for him to be like as loyal as he is to Notre Dame. Like, I feel like this is like huge.
Yeah, it's huge because he definitely can give us the side eye, especially because Michigan in the playoffs right now.
Exactly, and that's his alma mater.
So I do want to ask too. We talk about a lot about development, and we obviously I know you saw a little bit of Ian Book playing last night, but just talk about that. And we put an offense there, the Saints offensive line on the petty train, but just explain how hard it is. First game as an O lineman when you've been switching around in and out, how hard it is on Monday Night Football to block a playoff type of caliber defense.
Well, I can't speak for that because I've never played in a regular season game, but I can tell you one thing, especially hearing that, Ian Book didn't get like the live practice reps that, normally that a QB1 would get throughout a week of practice because they had a COVID breakout COVID breakout amongst the team and whatnot. So I knew that he was going to have an uphill battle. And, Miami defense is a really good defense. They're complex scheme. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a dude that came from Bill Belichick, the wizard of defense. So, yeah, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? And you look at a guy. I was thinking about when I was watching this game last night. I couldn't help but think about guys that like Cam Newton. Everyone's saying that Cam Newton is washed. Everyone's saying that he, you can say whatever you want about him, but look at ever since he first got released from Carolina, Cam Newton has yet to have an offseason. Cam Newton didn't have, the preseason games in a new playbook that, every other quarterback gets. He didn't get the full camp experience, with Carolina this coming season. Obviously, last year with COVID and stuff like that, he didn't get the full preseason experience because we didn't play nobody in the preseason during COVID. So you got to think about stuff like that. And and you can just see how much a guy like him has struggled. So you can't expect a guy like Ian Book to go out there and, put up Drew Brees numbers, Jameis Winston numbers, guys who have actually played the game, guys who have seen what regular season defense is like. The Miami Dolphins. I'm not saying the Miami Dolphins are, the Los Angeles Rams or something like that, but they're a good defense.
They're a good
You know
defense.
what I'm saying? They are a good defense. I'm sure they're top half in the league. So
They get paid
you
millions
can't
of dollars.
expect. Yeah, you got to rely on other ways other than your quarterback to win you the game. You know what I'm saying? You got to like Coach Shaun was saying, he just wants the game to be close at the end of the game. So we can run whatever we can run. But you know what I'm saying? You can't expect him to go out there and win you the game. You know what I'm saying? You got to rely on guys like Alvin Kamara. You got to rely on your defense. You got a top 5 defense in the league. You know what I'm saying? They got to score you some points. Just like Miami scored. That's how Miami
Got
turned
up.
that game around. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So, he had an uphill battle. Development is crucial. Them practice reps are crucial. That's the whole point. I mean, you can only do so much film study, but it's different when you're actually out there. You know what I'm saying? And you actually got the live bullets because you're thinking so much faster. It's different when you're just looking at a screen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you don't see a lot with the screen, but I'm just saying it's different when you actually
It's just
experience
different.
it. Yeah. And you're actually getting the muscle memory, the reps, the body experience, all that. You gotta have it all to go out there and perform and be top tier at what you do.
That's right. And with that being said, too, we also talk about Harry Heastead. Now, you been playing D line so many years at Notre Dame, going against that route of all those type of guys we had at Notre Dame on the offensive line. What was it about going against those guys led by Harry Heastead that was different than other other O linemen that you faced in your college career?
I wouldn't say it was nothing really different. I mean, it was a lot different, actually. I take that back. But one of the things that actually stick out the most was just how relentless he was. He was a relentless coach. You know what I'm saying? He never let up on his guys. And I'm not gonna lie, that kind of intimidated me from making the switch because it was like, yeah, I don't need to go to film on a Sunday after we done played on Saturday, and Sunday's my only day off where I get to, actually rest and recuperate my body. But
them
he was
boys in
actually
that film room.
he was preparing those guys for something greater. And, obviously me being 18 to 22, I wasn't looking at it that way. I was just trying to get through the day. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
So I felt like, preparing those guys for the long haul, the long run, preparing these guys to be relentless and always go out there to compete, the aspect of togetherness, the O-line went out together as a unit, you know what I'm saying? They never, how D linemen, right when practice is about to start, right when the horn's blowing, the D linemen are running in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was running in right when
the O linemen are literally out there 15 minutes before practice getting extra work in. You know what I'm saying? Every day. It didn't matter if it was a Sunday, whatever day it was, they out there. They get out of meetings late and they still get out to practice 15 minutes before everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
they really in their own world during the season. They in their own little cocoon.
And that was one of the things I've always respected about, because it was like they did something that back when I was in college I didn't think I could do. So I've always had tremendous respect for those guys, and learning. Obviously, just watching that had an impact on me because that's just how I address practice every day. I try to be as relentless as I can now. I try to compete and try to get the most I can out of every practice. I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not out there, taking extra reps after practice or whatnot after that. But I take the weight room seriously. I take meetings seriously. I try to do everything with a relentlessness as if Coach Easton was coaching me. You know what I'm saying? Within the hours of me being there. I try to get the most out of my time. So, just watching him run that O-line culture from being on the other side of the ball has an impact on me to this day. So, I've always had tremendous respect for those guys.
Man, hell yeah. And I think him coming back is going to help us.
Is he
in
coming back? I
achieving-
didn't know that. I don't know that.
Oh, yeah. He definitely, I mean, Coach Kelly leaving, a lot of things didn't change. I think he felt more comfortable coming back. But I definitely wanted to bring you on, too, to ask you why or what is it going to take for us to win a championship? Why haven't we won it? Why can't we get over that hump? Because it's a question that still stands for us to this day.
Well, I feel like a lot of us, whenever we were there, we had the injury bug, but then we also I don't know. I really don't know because we had some really talented cats on our team. A lot of talented dudes who could really play some ball. Like 2015, I still believe to this day if we were completely healthy, I think we would have won the national championship that year. But this year, I mean, in this day and age of college football, I think it's turning into an arms race, with this whole NIL stuff and now how much kids can get at whatever school they can go to and whatnot like that. So,
see, Texas is paying people $50,000 they O-line. Would you have went to Texas if it was back then?
I mean, think about it. Think about it. Bro, think about it. Think about it.
You would.
I want you to think about this.
On us, Jarron. That's
I want you to
messed
think
up.
about this. I want you to think about this. You're 18
You
years
thought now
old.
you want to justify you're 18. Yeah, duh.
You're coming out of high school where you rely on your parents for money, and your parents.
So
have
you're
never seen
taking the
money like that.
cash. Just tell it straight up. You're taking the cash.
Yes, without a doubt. I'm signing the dotted line.
So you're saying the difference is Notre Dame got to start signing them checks for us to get over in the arms race.
It's not even really Notre Dame because it's more so the state of Indiana. The state of Indiana has, because you know how the NIL is state regulated. It's
Okay.
state regulated. So the NIL, I guess, with like in Indiana is like, I don't know exactly what law or tweak within the law that it is that they have, but like in Indiana, the athletes can't really get the big bags that like they get at Alabama, Louisiana, California, places like that. So I think that played a really big part into Kelly leaving. Me personally.
Okay.
Because that's what college football has turned into. Because that's how guys are learning these kids. With these deals, it's no longer about the education or the tradition or the whatever state of your program. It's not about that anymore. It's like who handing out the most cash.
He talking about who got the most cash.
Because I mean, but like I don't blame these kids though, because like NCAA is getting millions of dollars off of us playing on TV.
Right.
And, we ain't seeing none of it. You know what I'm saying? So like when you wait too long for something that should have been happened to happen, it's gonna happen like this. So now, kids is gonna think money first. Money talks. You know what I'm saying? That's what this world is consumed of. People who want money.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we've been saying that Notre Dame has to get creative. Whether it's creating a trust from an endowment or something, doing something to make itself attractive, being a private university, to go up and not compete. Because we talked about this too, right? We put up a list on Monday. Notre Dame is the fourth most talented team amongst the teams in the college football playoff and the New Year's Six bowls.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame only has 1 5-star, and like Alabama and Georgia have like 15 and 16 respectively. So it's like, it's not, you don't get in the arms race you talked about to get to 15, but you at least have to get to 5 or 6 to become more competitive, right?
Yeah. And I don't even think it's Notre Dame's fault. I think it's just that law because, bro, like Notre Dame is like one of the most nationally renowned programs in the country.
Right.
Everywhere, bro. I am from Rochester, New York. I'm in Rochester, New York, and I barely go out because of the fact that I played at Notre Dame. It's not because I played at Aquinas, not because I played in the NFL. It's because I played at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is loved everywhere. There are people who love Notre Dame everywhere. These kids can get money off of being at Notre Dame in their hometowns. They don't even got to really rely on just because you're associated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just Notre Dame's just like one of those schools. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like now with this new NIL and stuff going on, I feel like Notre Dame will actually start seeing more 5-stars because there's money. There's money involved. Like what I'm saying, Notre Dame you can create your own money just by being associated with us.
Right.
Just go home. Just say, hey, I play at Notre Dame. Go home. Go wherever. You know what I'm saying? Like, or just ball out at Notre Dame. They gonna want to give Notre Dame stars the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about if a guy like Will Fuller was playing during this day and age where Will Fuller wouldn't even need a first round contract. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he needed that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he would have been well off before they even came. That would have been the least of his worries. He probably could have retired after Notre Dame.
Facts.
To be real.
No, straight up.
Because everybody. Manti, another example. Manti said,
he would have ate off the NIL.
And dude, Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics with Malik Zaire, the original Lucky Lefty himself. Overtime Malik special guest Jarron Jones is joining us right now. And how excited as a former player were you from the time that Brian Kelly decided to leave to the time that Marcus Freeman actually became the next head coach at Notre Dame? We saw this swell of support for that movement before it even happened. We saw former players. It didn't matter what era they came from. Like, it seemed like every era of Notre Dame former players were rooting for Marcus Freeman to get the job. You saw the fan base be on one accord, regardless of whether or not they were pro Kelly or anti Kelly. Have you ever felt like Notre Dame has been all in together as a fan base, university, and former players and current players, unlike we've ever seen? This is, for me, I've been a Notre Dame fan my entire life. This is the first time that I've felt this type of vibe ever. And is that more inviting for you as a former player to want to be more involved and get back to campus?
Yeah, honestly, it is because again, even people that was for Kelly, whether you're against Kelly or whatnot, like when that move happened, when Kelly went to LSU, everybody was calling for Coach Freeman. I mean, there were some guys calling for Urban, and I see why. I get it. But this move, I feel like this was the greatest move that Notre Dame has done. And I really just feel like Notre Dame just gives him a chance. I really feel like he may become, I feel like he will be a turning point within this program for, the future. Thinking about the future and the next step. You think about all those times, you think about programs like Syracuse basketball or Duke basketball that have had these coaches for a long time. And, you don't know who their next coach is going to be. You don't know who they're going to hire next. But, a lot of times they end up hiring within the program. That's what this is feeling like. And I feel like it's just going to be like a new era of new magic.
Yeah.
New beginnings. I feel like the sky's the limit for this program. And, especially in the state that Kelly left this program, because when Notre Dame was what Notre Dame was when Kelly got there, you can say what you want about the man. He turned that program around.
He did.
He did. He was a winner. He won. When the last time Notre Dame saw a national championship?
Yeah.
I mean, say what you want about the result and whatnot, but us going to the national championship, us going to the playoff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
We used to hope for that. We used to hope for a 10-win season.
Right.
10-win season.
My question is though, are you taking the money and running, or are you gonna stay loyal to Notre Dame? That's the question.
I don't know.
Because taking out money, man.
No. And
He's keeping it a buck, though. He's keeping it a buck.
Keep it a buck.
I'm just saying that because, again, like you say, he always been an LSU fan. So, like, can you really?
He always been an LSU fan.
I mean, it would be my dream to coach my favorite team.
That's straight up.
You know, you can like that man had his reason, and you know, you can't blame him for that. You really can't.
Yeah,
you can't. Because I mean, if I was just always Notre Dame blood through and through, you know, obviously I would stay. But like, you know, if I had like growing up, believe it or not, I actually hated Notre Dame before I went there. I actually grew up in Virginia Tech.
We get the hindsight truth hour. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hated it. I would have never went there.
No. The only reason was because like my dad loved Notre Dame, and like I used to always just like always want to go against my dad. So like when he liked the Falcons, I liked the team that was the best at that time when I was a kid, which was the Rams. So when my dad liked Notre Dame, I liked the next best team. I would see on. That was when Michael Vick was on. That was when Michael Vick was playing at Virginia Tech. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like Virginia Tech. And then you know, Michael Vick. Then you had Marcus Vick. Then you had Shaun Lennon. You had all those guys. Like I loved Virginia Tech during those times. You had Cam Chancellor, guys like that. So, you know, if I still felt that way about Virginia Tech, and you know, Virginia Tech offered me a crap ton of money, and I know I get it. I'm Notre Dame's winningest head coach, which is an absolute honor. But you know, if I felt that way as I felt like when I was a kid about Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech offered me again a 9-figure salary.
He said 9-figure. Yeah, there's a lot of zeros.
A lot of zeros, yeah. Like I'm gonna go to Blacksburg. You know,
he said all that to be like, hell yeah, I'm taking that money and going. What you talking about?
All right, Jarron, thanks for joining us today. Before you get out of here, we're gonna have you play a little game we call This or That right here with our guest on Lucky Lefty podcast. And I'm gonna start it out. I'm interested in seeing how this vote goes. We had 3 votes for one guy and 1 vote for another so far. So, who was the best hooper on the Notre Dame football squad?
He can't say, he gonna say himself, Jarron.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Like as much as I like to think I was good and stuff, it wasn't. Notre Dame,
he had his
dog, and like bro, like the runs at Notre Dame used to be legit. Like even like with the regular students. Like, the runs at Notre Dame used to be like, even though football players weren't allowed technically, there was a sign in the locker room that said no basketball. We were still playing basketball. We used to get after it in Raw.
That's right.
I would say the best hooper that I've seen, I have to go Everett.
Everett. Everett was real good. No, Everett was real good.
Everett was tough. Hey, Everett was tough.
I said Mike McGlinchey though, because Everett was a ball hog for real.
Hey, McGlinchey. Okay, let me give you my 5.
See, I told you McGlinchey.
Okay. Hey,
nice.
Jarron, before you give a 5, I just want you to know that we had Torrey Hunter Jr. on last week.
Torrey nice.
Torrey said he used to have Malik on lock.
Nah, see, look, now you talking about
everybody had Malik on lock.
That's crazy.
Hey, Malik. No, Malik.
Wow, that's crazy.
Malik got great handle. Malik is a streaky shooter, but like you put that pressure on Malik. I said you was a streaky shooter.
See, now we got to pull up film.
Nah, okay. My 5.
All right.
Everett Golson.
It was nice.
Tyler Hardy.
Corey Robinson. Yeah, Corey was. Hey, yo.
That's in his blood, though.
Hey, Corey would dunk so easy and be like, oh, yeah, I could just windmill, like, behind it. Like, Corey could do all the tricks.
Like it's nothing.
I forgot Corey was
Wait a minute, Ron, your sound dropped a little bit. What was the last person you said?
That's crazy.
McGlinchey.
Did you hear what he said?
Who'd he say?
McGlinchey.
Yes,
McGlinchey,
Mark
okay.
McGlinchey. Yep. Mike
Mike
McGlinchey.
McGlinchey. And my fifth, even though he ain't hoop much, but like I felt like if he hooped a lot more, Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie was nice too. Ronnie was lazy. Ronnie was nice.
Ronnie was nice.
Ronnie
Ronnie
was
had
nice.
game. And then my bench, like my guys that like I will put in rotation, Malik.
I know I'm on there.
I'll go Tory.
CJ. CJ is dumb nice.
It would be out of CJ or Chris Fink.
Hey, Chris
Fink
Fink's a little hooper too. Yeah,
Fink got
hoop a little
hops.
bit. He do.
Fox got hops.
Fink got hops. Hey, Fink is windmilling.
Yeah. Fink got talent for real.
Fink got hops.
Wow.
If they had to make a reboot, they shouldn't have made a reboot of Space Jam. They should have made a reboot of White Man Can't Jump.
Bro,
Fink.
I call Fink the white Spud Webb. Swear to God. He's the white Spud Webb.
Seriously, Fink was an athlete. I'm telling you.
Fink was
So
an
that's so
athlete.
you know. This is how it's breaking down right now. We've had 5 guests. We got 3 votes for Mike McGlinchey. We got 1 vote for Tory and 1 vote for Ed.
Yeah.
Who voted for Tory?
Tory, yeah.
Yeah.
He voted for himself.
Yeah.
Tory
That's
can
Tory.
shoot. Tory can always shoot.
All right, we're gonna run through this quick. All right, I just had to get that. Favorite place to eat on campus?
Eat on campus. On campus or okay.
In South Bend. No, favorite place to eat in South Bend or the area.
Okay, now that's tough. That's tough because
We
South
have some
Bend
spots now.
South Bend do got some eats. Hey, I'll go Soho. Soho or JJ's?
Yeah, Soho and JJ's.
Yeah, we hear JJ's a lot. All right, chocolate chip cookie or oatmeal raisin?
Chocolate chip.
Yep.
Jay-Z or Nas?
Jay-Z.
Locks or Mobb Deep?
Locks.
Chopped cheese or a slice?
You can't go locks against Mobb Deep. That's not fair. I'm thinking about that. That's not fair. You gotta go like locks against like Wu-Tang Clan or something like that.
Okay, I'll give you that.
No. Because if you go just the locks, I mean, have to go like locks against like maybe like Ghostface and Raekwon.
Oh man, you got to build a super team to go up against the lot. That's what you basically saying.
I know, but like I'm saying, like Mobb Deep though. You can go a Tribe Called Quest.
True, facts.
Yeah, definitely.
Facts, or just go whole native tongue against the locks.
Nah, straight up.
Chopped cheese or a slice? Slice? Slice?
You ain't no real New Yorker.
He ain't a real New Yorker.
You
You go with the chopped cheese, Malik?
No, because real New Yorkers, I mean, even though there is chopped cheese, like real New Yorkers get steak sauce. That's what we get.
See, he's
upstate. That's that upstate.
That's that Canada. That's that Canada. You probably get a slice of Canadian ham, man. You don't even get the bacon.
Yeah, all right. We talking about steak. We ain't even talking. Yeah, we talking about steak, bro.
Right.
Yeah, straight up.
Don's a certified lover boy.
Call me when you get lost.
That's a great.
I ain't gonna lie, they both was good albums, but like there's albums that are out there that's better than both of them.
Oh, facts. Lots of Lil Baby or Da Baby?
Lil Baby.
All right. Nets or Knicks?
Who?
Nets or Knicks?
Now, in terms of winning a championship, you go Nets. But like, you know, in terms of who you want to see win more, I'll go Knicks.
That's fair.
Right.
I like seeing happiness at the Garden.
Yeah, okay. I can agree with that.
You know, like the Bing Bong videos, like outside of the Garden, like
Yeah.
I like those.
I like those.
We actually had a debate on which borough had the best food. And most
I said the
people
BX.
most people went BX or either Harlem. So in your opinion, which borough has the best food?
Well, I'm bougie, so I'm gonna go Manhattan.
He was honest. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
bougie.
He like
Malik,
to sit
Malik,
down.
no, when I'm in New York, I get super bougie for some reason.
Yeah, he like
That's
to
just
sit
the only
down.
that's the only place I be bougie at.
Nah, straight up.
It's crazy because anytime I come in town, I'm like a creature of habit. So I think they changed the name. It used to be called the London NYC. I think they changed the name of it. And I used to come out because I would go to sleep and I wouldn't come out until like after 11.
Yeah.
Because that's when the city is like vibrant. And I would always go to this spot called the Brooklyn Diner. And they had these wings on the menu called incendiary wings. Man, they were fire. And I would sit there, they give you 12 wings. I would sit there, chill, and everybody would just come through. It was the Brooklyn Diner in Manhattan.
I'm gonna have to go.
Like right outside of Times Square. Yeah, it's fire. And then I would go to this spot on 45th and 44th and 6th called the Red Flame for breakfast every day.
Damn.
Oh, I'll go to this place called Zaire. They got this stuffed French toast.
Where is it at?
It's in Tribeca. It's called Zaire.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check it back.
Hey, I'm telling you, French toast is off the chain. Best French toast I've ever had.
Stuffed French toast.
Stuffed French toast.
Hey, we better than Yelp reviews now. You know, come to Lucky
Hey,
podcast.
Hey, you know I ain't this fat for no reason.
We got a question from one of our subscribers. He says, Rex Mike says, yo, the best wings in South Bend.
Definitely JJ's. If not JJ's, shoot. I don't know where you gonna go.
See, like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I like JJ's because of the lemon pepper. They didn't have the best wings. Best wings, I would probably either have to go CJ's.
Ooh, CJ do got some.
Or
dang, you really done said something when you said that.
CJ's or Brothers.
Brothers got better mild wings.
But no, I'm just saying, Brothers had good like actual wings. They could have had way more sauces. I'm just saying in terms of wings, Brothers had good wings. But in the whole overall experience, I have to go CJ's. CJ's had good flavors and great size wings that were actually cooked well.
See, that's a real breakdown right now.
That's what we eat up here.
That's a real breakdown.
So, man, we're gonna be on the road a lot next season. Like Malik and I have been talking, we're gonna be at the Horseshoe. We're taking the show on the road.
Okay.
Podcast is gonna be at the Horseshoe for game 1. You still got the connect for the PJ?
PJ?
Yeah, we gotta highlight you for that PJ. What's up?
What's good with
it? I'll see what we can do.
That's right. Here we go. Exclusive here on the Lucky Lefty.
Yo, it's been a blast, man. You can officially certify Jarron Jones as a long-time friend of the program right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. We appreciate everybody that joined us today. We gave you a little bit of everything. We went through Marcus Freeman's press conference. We talked about the competition, identifying the best players. We talked about the change in the depth chart, the injury to Josh Lugg, Ryan Barnes and Prince Colley moving up, practicing with the ones and the twos. And we gave you the lucky left. What you playing right now? What you playing right now, JJ?
Oh, you know, Malik know what I'm playing.
Yeah, I know. I know what he's playing. I'm gonna get on right after.
Malik's been running from me in Madden for about 2 months, JJ.
Oh Malik don't want to play nobody in Madden. Last time I played Malik know what happened. Last time I played.
Listen.
You made him put the stick down?
Hey.
He talking
Malik,
about some old.
Hey.
My record in Madden at Notre Dame is impeccable.
This is like
it's
impeccable.
Don't get me wrong. This was like Madden. Which was this? Like Madden, like 15. Had the
Shaun, don't let him get you messed up, Shaun.
21 zip. 21
nice
zip
now.
in the first quarter.
Well,
anyway,
Malik
it's
don't want
been a
no
great
problems.
podcast, Jarron. It's been a great podcast.
He don't want no problems.
Malik don't want no problems. Malik can use that I'm a quarterback excuse. I'm gonna throw the ball all over the field, whatever.
Follow my Twitch channel.
I play great defense.
Follow my Twitch channel. You're gonna love to see the dubs I put up on Madden.
Get on Twitch right now. Put it on Twitch right now.
I'm gonna get on Twitch. And I'm gonna show y'all boys. I'm gonna show y'all.
Nolan, as far as I said, if any
right
of you
now.
guys play the show, Nolan, I play the show.
I got the show too.
Yeah.
I play the show too.
Yeah, I play the show too. So
We might have to drop gamer tags in here now.
Malik's been running, JJ. So
I put it. Change it on my name.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we got to end on that one. I'm gonna
Here's
put my gamer tag next
Nope,
time.
here's my gamer tag.
yeah, Juan Lozado was right. Malik don't duck in playing Madden because he got Mayfield as quarterback.
I'm rocking with Joe Burrow. I ain't rocking.
He's riding with Joe. He's playing with Joe Burrow all day.
There you go. That's my gamer tag. If it'll change.
Put the gamer tag in there.
Here we go.
Man, this has been fantastic, Jarron. We got to have you back on soon, man. And hopefully, if you get a chance to get up to the Horseshoe, get up to Columbus, we'll have you on the live podcast from the first game in 2022.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. Come around. I'll definitely pull up.
All right, everybody, subscribe, share, like. You know what to do. Hit that like button. We give you great content. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. We spin it different. Nobody else rocks Notre Dame football like the Lucky Lefty podcast. So from Malik Zaire to Overtime Malik, Jarron Jones, Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics bidding you adieu until tomorrow at 9 a.m. Don't forget our end of the year show Thursday, 9 a.m. We'll be right back here with you. We'll give you all of the best for Notre Dame football and culture on Thursday at 9 a.m. See you guys tomorrow, man. Spin it different today.